And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at one of the sets for Marvel Legendary called Legendary Messiah Complex. Now, if you've been watching these reviews or you're a fan of Legendary, if you haven't noticed, some of these small boxes actually have a lot of stuff in them, and this is one of those. This has 200 cards in it. They no longer do big box, small box. Now they just put everything in a small box. But this is big box material. There's a lot of stuff in this one. This is based on, in my opinion, one of the best storylines Marvel has ever done. It's really hard to explain everything that's happening in here, but someone is trying to destroy the X-Men, the Messiah Complex. Just was a really cool scenario where all the mutants are threatened with extinction and an evil mastermind Bastion. Really cool stuff. Now, of course, many of the main characters from Messiah Complex are already in other sets, so there's not another Wolverine in here, there's not another Scott Summer and stuff, but there are a lot of the smaller characters were used to great effect, and some of them even died. But a lot of those characters are in this one, so we're going to take a look at what's in this set. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you already know how to play Marvel Legendary, and we'll be back. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these new characters. So first we have Multiple Man, who is one of my favorite characters from the comic book. And Multiple Man has Clone. So the way Clone works is when you get the card for whatever reason. So for example, this one, when you play another card with a text symbol, you get Clone, you get another copy of that card from the headquarters. And if it's not there, then you can gain a copy from the deck. And then you shuffle the hero deck. And then you put it in your discard pile. So that's okay. It's not, there's duplicates of all these cards, obviously, but then you will eventually run out of duplicates. I kind of wish there was a way to remember that. I guess you just have to kind of be like, yeah, we got all the perfect matches. Then there's Investigate. This one has Investigate. That means look at the top two cards of your deck. By the way, this isn't the first time this is in the game. And then you reveal a card with a certain icon and draw it, put the rest of those cards in the top of your deck in any order. So that's not bad. That's the only thing. Well, this one does 1 damage. This does 1 plus 1 for each card name that you played at least twice this turn. So this makes cloning better. Then there's Tactical Formation. So this is interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I think I like it more in concept than in practice. So this is Tactical Formation 44. You may KO a card from your hand or discard pile. And it also has Clone, by the way. All his cards have Clone. But Tactical Formation, this means you have 2 heroes that cost 4. So here's another Tactical Formation. This is 444. That means you have 3 heroes that cost 4. And you can count this card itself as one of them. So this means you have another card that's 4, and then you have 2 other cards that are worth 4. Although this one is, you can clone it, Tactical Formation 444, but if you notice, all his cards cost 4, so they're not as hard to pull off. All right, let's move to the Stepford Cuckoos. If you don't know who they are a trio, or there was 5 of them. It's a long story, but they all have telepathy, but they all kind of work together. This one says, when recruited, clone. So that means when you buy the card, you immediately get to clone them, and then they have a Tactical Formation here of 223. Here's another one, recruited clone, and they have 2 different tactical formations, 22 and 32. Now, if there's one thing I'll complain about these cards, you'll notice the text is really, really small in them. But they have tactical formations on a lot of their cards. But their cards are also all inexpensive. And you'll notice this with both them and Multiple Man, since they have the word clone on them, you're not going to get to see a lot of those, what's the word for it? You're not going to see the very high point card, because you're not going to have that one high point card. It's just going to be a lot of cloning of the same stuff. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this next character, but I do like their cards. So we have Richter here, and Richter has Shatter. So he needs to play another card with the X-Men symbol on it, but then you shatter a villain in the sewers. That means you cut their attack in half, rounding up. Still though, and you can shatter somebody multiple times. So that's pretty cool. Victor also has Investigate on a few of his cards. And then his strongest card, Shatter the Mastermind. Like normally you can't use shatter against the mastermind, but here, or shatter all heroes currently in the headquarters, which means you make them half price. That's a pretty great card. I really like being able to cut the villain in half, especially the bigger villains. It's a very cool card. Siren also has some cards with shatter. So you can see here, shadow hero currently in the headquarters. His printing cost is 2, 4, 6, and or 8. It's a little, I feel like that's a little very specific, but, and also she can investigate, and she has tactical formation. If she has 2, 4, 8, or 2, 4, 6, shatter all villains, and it's a 4 attack. I mean, this card is pretty awesome, but even better, she can shatter the mastermind, and then KO up the 2 cards from your hand or discard pile. Now, in my top 10 favorite heroes in the Marvel Universe, Multiple Man is on that list. But even more so, I love Strong Guy. Yes, it's one of the dumbest names there is. He's Strong Guy, but he knows this. He has a good sense of humor, Guido, but as a character, he's fine. Investigate. If someone gets a wound, you can discard this card instead. If you do, draw 2 cards. It's kind of an interesting thing. Go big, a tactical formation of 4, 4, 5. You get +3 attack. And then here, this I like if you investigate a card, and then a different option, and a third different option. So you can get a bunch of cards, and it's 3 attack. I don't know if he's particularly amazing, but it's interesting. Then we have M. M is one of the more confusing characters in the Marvel Universe, so I'm not going to go through her history, except that she has kind of multiple personalities inside of her, to the point where just knowing that's a spoiler, if you go back 20 years ago anyway. But she has a lot of cards. She can clone them when recruited and has tactical formations and investigate. You'll notice there's a lot of these same things are used back and forth. So again, all her cards are fairly inexpensive. And she has this tactical formation, 3, 3, 3, 3. You get +3 attack. Sure, I guess. I would make sure you put a lot of cards of cost 3 in. Then we have Shatterstar, who's kind of a jerk, but you can clone this one when you recruit it, you clone this one when it's recruited, you clone this one when you recruit it, and he also has tactical formation of 5, 5, and you clone this one when recruited. So all his cards are kind of expensive at cost 5, but they're pretty strong cards, and this one can shatter the mastermind. Then we have Warpath. So Warpath, pick a number that's 1 or more, investigate for a card of that cost. That's pretty handy, actually. When you draw a new hand of cards this turn, draw 2 extra cards. I always love stuff like that. A tactical formation of 2, 2, 5 for +3. And whenever you reveal or look at any number of cards from your deck this turn, you get +1. So that's not bad. And then choose a number of 1 through more, you investigate for that card. So this isn't, a tremendously powerful card, but it's very versatile, I think. So those are the different heroes that are in this set. This deck also comes with a deck of sidekicks, and you can mix this. Secret Wars and Civil War both had sidekicks, and so you can pay 2 stars to take a sidekick from the top of the deck, and whenever you play them, you put them back on the bottom of the deck. So these are people like Skids and Rusty Collins and Darwin, who are not maybe cool enough to get their own hero, although I suspect some of them will get their own heroes in the future. And Rockslide, I like Rockslide a lot actually in the comics. Like Shatter a Villain. Well, that's pretty good for 2, but you are taking a random chance as you draw these. And I think there's 2 copies of each of the different characters that are in here. And for me, you just want to mix this with all the other sidekicks that you have, just for a bigger, more versatile deck. This is fun. I'll always play with sidekicks. There's also a couple special bystanders that come with here, and you just stick these in your deck, and when you rescue them, you get something. This one lets you rescue an opera singer, lets you shatter a villain in the bank or the HQ, which I think is funny, that investigates and clone. Realize if you use these, though, you are adding 3 keywords to your bystander deck. So those are the, good guys. Let's take a look at the bad guys. So, hey, we got the Sentinel Squad 1. So, we got 2 sets of henchmen villains. So we have them, and we have the Mr. Sinister clones. So these guys have an ambush clone. When the clone copy enters the city, shuffle a bystander in the villain deck. So you clone the next hero you recruit this turn. That is printed cost of 4 left. So there's some interesting things. They bring cloning in here. And if there are any other Sentinel Squad 1s in the city, clone. So here, when you fight these Sentinels, This is one I would include a lot, I think, in games just because it's fun for the X-Men to fight against them. But the clone means when they come out, you're going to search the villain deck for another one, and that comes in the city. It only happens once. It doesn't keep repeating. Then we got some villains. We got the Reavers, Donald Pierce, Bonebreaker. So they have prey here. So prey is a new thing. When you ambush prey, everyone reveals their hand, and whoever has the fewest, like in this card, the strength cards, then that villain goes in front of them and they're attacking that villain. But if no one beats them by the end of the turn, then they'll finish the prey. So they gain a wound to the top of their deck. So Bonebreaker will show up in front of you. You got to fight him, or someone else can fight him, and they attack you. This is not a bad thing. I actually like this idea, how these people come out and do that. And this is kind of taken from other games, but the idea of coming after a prey, and then not just them, but there's also Predator X, which is from the Purifiers deck, and Predator X, you can see, is just basically the same thing in 5 different colors, but they do different things to the prey. And if you've ever read in this storyline, Predator X was a really big part of it, and that's kind of cool to see that this character's there. I like playing with this because it's like, oh, this nasty giant monster just keeps coming after us. We also have the Purifiers with the Leper Queen, Reverend William Stryker. Man, I hate all these people. Cameron Hodge. They also have these different prey attacks. And then the Acolytes here, who have ambush effects. You can look at her, though. She's 16, but you can shatter an enemy times. When you do it, you draw 1 fewer card. So I can be like, oh, I got to kill her at 16. I'll take her down to 8. Oh, but I draw a fewer card. I can take her down to 4, but then I draw 2 fewer cards. That stuff's great. I like that. And Frenzy and Random. Random is one of those characters that I wish got his own hero card because he's one of my favorite characters in the universe here, although there's a lot of text on his card. And then the clan, Yashida here. Now they have Chivalrous Duel. So they do single combat. You can't gang up on an enemy. You pick one hero name to do it. So this is not the first time we've seen this. It showed up in Ant-Man before. But all the cards you use to attack them have to come from a single hero name. That's not, especially with clones. Clones are going to work really well against this because you'll probably have that in there. All right, then we got a couple masterminds here. We have Lady Deathstrike, one of Wolverine's things. She always comes with the Reavers here. And if she's preying on a player, finish the prey, which is they gain 2 wounds. Everyone else discards 2. That's terrible. So you don't want her coming after you. And then we have the most evil of all, the Bastion Fused Sentinel. By the way, both of these have the upgraded better side. So his mastermind tactics actually show different people. And I kind of like this. This is neat because this is him, but now here he is with the mastermind. And here he is with the Nimrod Sentinel. And here he is with whatever this one is. I can't remember. That's him like fused with a Sentinel. So that's kind of cool. And then we have Exodus Mastermind here, who, when he does a Master Strike, you pick one of these symbols, and everyone has to discard one of those heroes or gain a wound. Also, he's 32, which is huge. He's really powerful in the thing, but you can pay 3 to shatter him. So you're really going to have to pay, I think, 6. You get him down to 8. You know, take him from 16 to 8. And then that's 2 of your cards, right? Probably to get 6 attack. He's pretty tough here. Of course, you can make him 36 on this side if you're really insane. But that's Exodus. And then finally, the last thing in here, we have some schemes. But the schemes in this one are veiled and unveiled. When you use it, you start with the veiled side. At a certain point, it will say it transforms. So after 4 twists, this transforms into a random unveiled scheme. So this one, you raid Gene Banks to reveal the hero's evil clones. This one's a hack Cerebro servers to open rifts to future timelines. So the one thing I like about this is that you essentially have 2 halves of a scheme, you know, going up against each other. And I like that concept. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, that's a lot of stuff in this set. So even though this set has a lot of cards, I don't find this one to be too overwhelming. Clone is pretty simple, although as much as I like the idea of clone, it's a little fiddly because I want to clone this card. It's not out there. Search the deck, you find it. Wait, it's not in the deck anywhere. There's that kind of thing is in existence. And the tactical formations, like I said, I think they're neater in theory than they are in practice. If you pull it off, it's cool, but it's kind of hard to set those up. Shatter! is fantastic. I like that. And I like the villains. I'm always happy when I get some more henchmen because you use a henchman in every set. Having henchmen sentinels with clone, actually I like it with the villains. I mean, you don't like it when it happens. You're like, I like the sidekick deck. I mean, again, it's not the first time it's been in one, but I like that it exists. And I think those veiled and unveiled schemes, that's kind of cool. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of those show up in the future. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. Some of my favorite characters for me, Multiple Man and Strong Guy and Siren, I really like those characters. And Bastion, oh, he's one of the worst bad guys in all of Marvel. So it's fun to fight against him and everything. So a lot of cool stuff in here. If you're a fan of this series, you can do it. And you could also, go up against Bastion with, Wolverine and Colossus and, whoever else there might be, Hope Summers, etc. I do think it's a little odd. Hope Summers is not in Messiah Complex. I mean, I know they already have her in the Legendary. She is the main character, or she's one of the main characters, I suppose. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff in here. Definitely worth checking out. Messiah Complex. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment approved!